What's going on, everybody? My name is CarlettaElston, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to be giving you 10 lessons that I learned from 2020. So one of the lessons that I learned from 2020 is that it's important to stay connected to your inner child. And I also learned that the key to life is literally within the Arthur song. Okay, I don't know if you're familiar with Arthur, but it's a cartoon that comes on PBS Kids, and if you haven't watched it, definitely go check it out after this video. So around Thanksgiving, I felt like I was going through a little bit of a identity crisis. I was overthinking, overanalyzing, a lot of stuff was just on my mind, and, I felt a little bit overwhelmed. And I was guided to watch some cartoons to get into a lighthearted mood, to rekindle that joy in my spirit, and find some things to be appreciative of, not saying that I'm not appreciative or anything like that, but, that's where joy starts. Joy starts with gratitude. And I was led to, PBS Kids, and next thing you know, Arthur came on, and I was brought back down to memory lane when I was a kid, and it brought back all of this nostalgia and, emotions where, I was just like, wow, this was when time was, worry-free. There were no bills, there were no depression, there was no, all of the pressure that, society puts on us and stuff. And, of course, Arthur, brought back all of these feelings. But when I heard the song, I was like, wow. A lot of the things that we watched when we were kids, or, the cartoons that came on, for example, the station PBS, were giving us messages. They were planting seeds for us, to prepare us for when we became adults in this world. And, for the so-called real world, and for us to, stay connected to our true essence. And that's something that I learned, that it's important to stay connected to your inner child. Over this past year, I recently just learned what inner child really is. I started digging more into psychology and stuff like that. And, this is a world that we live in that can basically strip us from our inner child if we're not aware. Constant routine working, the day in and day out things, and it's important to remember that life is more than, routine. Life is more than paying bills. Life is more than, material possessions and, finances and et cetera, et cetera. There's so much more to life. And getting in tune with the inner child is necessary to remember that. So, number 2, being calm is more powerful than losing your cool. I used to think that the person that was the loudest was the most powerful. The person that said the most was the wisest. The person that had the last word was the strongest. The person that was the harshest was the coolest, and none of these things are true. It's pretty much the opposite. When you have the self-control where you can stay calm in the heat of a moment. Stay calm when you are hit with some challenges. Stay calm when somebody says something to you that is hurtful, that hits below the belt. You are someone that is powerful. You are someone that has the upper hand. You are someone that is acting in your higher self. And it's important to, remember that as well. Calm is more important than trying to prove a point. Your calmness in itself is enough point that's proven. So that's something that I learned from 2020 as well. Now, the third thing that I learned from 2020 is that The world is driven by beliefs and labels, that mentally can trap you, stagnate you, or literally drive you crazy if you are not aware. And this pretty much goes back to, staying connected to your inner child. But what I wanted to say in regards to this is when you notice something off within yourself, just adjust accordingly. That's something that I learned from year 2020, and I'm still learning to, incorporate in my life. Not to beat yourself up, not to guilt trip yourself, not to blame yourself or blame others or any of that. Just take note from what it is that you learn in that moment. You don't have to feel that you have to diagnose yourself just because you hear something that may fit you. There's so many terms that are out here, and you can go out on Google and look it up, and then, because this has happened to me, I'll be looking and I'm like, okay, I'm seeing that maybe some of these qualities are mine, but does that make me that? No, it doesn't make me that. Maybe I have some of these qualities. Maybe there's something I need to just adjust within myself to be a better version of myself, but that doesn't make me that just because there's a label for that, And, at the end of the day, we are spirits having a human experience. Life is experience, and we become certain ways because of our experiences. But when we notice, these qualities that might not be so positive, what I learned is to just adjust accordingly. The number 4 lesson that I learned from 2020 is assume nothing and research and discuss everything. So maybe I should take the research out of there, you know what I'm saying? Because I was just saying, when you look up Google and stuff, sometimes it can drive you nuts. So there's a limit to researching, A lot of research can drive you a lot of crazy if you're not careful. There's a balance when it comes to that. But when it comes to discussing things with people and really addressing certain situations, it's important to do that instead of assume, making up interpretations in your mind of how this person thinks or how this person feels. There's a saying that goes, what people think about me is none of my business, and what you think about other people is, the same thing. It's really not your job. It's not your position. It's not your role. Not saying that you shouldn't take how you feel in consideration, or, thoughts that come up, about certain people are not valid. But, until you go directly to the source and address what it is that you're feeling, then you can't really say one way or the other about this person being this way or this person being that way or this person feeling this way about me. Assumptions, as my dad would say, are the mother of all fuck ups. Excuse my language, but it's true. The more that you assume things, the more that you create more problems in your life, and the more that you just go downhill to an endless pit of nowhere. Okay, so it's best to assume nothing and discuss everything. Number 5, everyone has something to teach, but no one has all the answers. So this is also something I learned in 2020. Now, this is something I already knew, but, I would just say that over this year, I received a lot more confirmation to this, lesson here, that you might learn something in specific from this person. One person might know everything about math, but then you realize that, okay, there's many different types of math. There's many different types of equations, and this person knows a different equation than this person does. Okay, so this person can give me, some knowledge about something that this person can't give me, So there's many different people in this world, and there's many different views on certain topics and things like that. And, if you get caught up in following one person, you might miss out on other things and other areas and other lessons that can be learned and more knowledge that's out there. So, at the end of the day, what I'm saying is that nobody has all of the answers. So that's one thing that I learned from 2020 as well. Now, the sixth thing that I learned from 2020 is astrology and numerology are great maps that can lead you to self-mastery and self-love. So astrology, or I'm just going to say horoscopes, has always been something that I have been into since I was a little girl. I remember my grandfather, he had, newspapers, and he would always show me my horoscope. We would always look at our horoscopes together. And, I always look forward to checking that newspaper and seeing what was in there. So that was my beginning connection to my zodiac sign and things like that. But over this year, as I got into spirituality and, just digging deeper into knowledge into myself, I realized that astrology, there's so much more to our zodiac signs. There's so much more to us and what makes us up and what drives us and what, keeps us going and, why we do certain things and et cetera, et cetera. And those things can all be discovered within astrology and, numbers. As they say, numbers don't lie. Now, there is some truth to that, but there's a half truth to that too. It depends on who's using the numbers. You know what I'm saying? Who's in control of the numbers? Because if we're talking about the news, that's another story. But astrology and numerology can definitely lead you to, where you need to be in life. It's like if you use it to your benefit, if you take it and you extract all of the information that you can from it, you're definitely going to be led in the right direction. You're definitely going to be awakened to your potential and to, everything about yourself. And I just think that's really dope. So definitely astrology and numerology, for me personally speaking, taught me a lot, and I love it. So number 7, the seventh thing that I learned in 2020 is to make no announcement. Lead with action. And then you can let your words follow. So, one thing that I've always known is, silence is, as I was saying, it goes along with being calm, is just as powerful as, putting your voice out there and speaking sometimes. And when you go making announcements about certain things that you want to accomplish or that you want to do, sometimes people are not as enthusiastic as you are about it. Some people are not going to support you. Some people are going to look down on you. Some people are going to criticize you. Some people are going to fear you, or some people are going to hate on you and steer you from trying to do the very thing that you want to do. So making announcements does not eliminate judgment. It doesn't eliminate hatred, jealousy, or competition. If anything, it just intensifies it, and it conspires up more of it, because now that you put it out there, more people are looking for you, and they're trying to make sure that your actions are going to follow your words, that you're going to do what you said you are going to do. And if you don't, or if you fall short, they're definitely going to be right there to point out everything that you did wrong, or, your missteps. They're definitely calculating you, and they're definitely paying attention to your past, because people know about your past more than they do know about what's to come in the future. So it's best to just keep certain things to yourself when it comes to, what you want to do in life. That's what I've learned. If I want to, accomplish certain things, just write it down on a vision board, put a vision board up, and speak to yourself about it. I'm not saying that you can't share your dreams and visions with the special closest people to you, the people that you trust, but really just announcing it and stuff like that. Just be looking out for people to be looking out for you and putting the pressure on you and judging you, et cetera, et cetera. So, and you don't want anybody to kill your dreams before they actually come into fruition. So silence is important. Make no announcement. Lead with action. So the eighth thing that I learned about 2020 is you can learn from anybody, any age, any race, any background, any nationality, any culture. It does not matter what it is that somebody is, okay? Everybody has something to teach. Everybody has something that, you can learn from. And this year, I think I learned the most from people that are younger than me, people that are 10, 12 years younger than me, fellow YouTubers. I've learned a lot from a couple of YouTubers that are like 17, 18 years old. I've learned from my niece. My niece is only 8 years old. She's taught me a lot from my experiences with her. You can learn from a baby. Simply just seeing their strength, simply just seeing them fighting and growing and becoming stronger and healthy. There's so much that we can learn from people. We can learn from the homeless person on the street, just as much as we can learn from the richest person. Neither one of them is any better. There's significance in both of those stories. So what I've learned, and what I've always, kind of known, but I'm just going to say that my eyes open up even more to this, is that you can learn from anybody. So don't allow yourself to think that a person has to be older than you to teach you something, or that elders are the only people that can give you knowledge. Now, the ninth thing that I learned from 2020 is entrepreneurship and ownership is a must for everyone. Okay, now, this is something that I always kind of knew deep down in my soul, that I wanted to do my own thing. I want to have my own, always wanted to be independent, etc., etc. It's important to, have streams of income. But this year amplified this idea, whether you decide to invest, whether you decide to do stocks, whether you decide to create your own business, everyone should create their own means to create their own legacy and wealth, as well as personal freedom. Because with wealth and because with, your own, you have personal freedom. You can move the way you want to, and you aren't a footstool, or you aren't helping to build somebody else's dream up. You're creating your own. So this is something that I've learned. Entrepreneurship and ownership is pretty much a must. And I think that this year is really teaching us all that. It's important for us to carve out our own goals, and instead of, being the back burner of somebody else's, or, however that saying goes. But, follow your dreams, follow your passion, follow what your purpose is, what your soul is calling you to do, for sure. Now, number 10, the last thing that I have here that I learned from 2020 is life is a journey, and it's not up to society or anyone else to determine what yours should look like. What I've learned is that as I've wanted to discover more, that I wanted to explore more and open up my mind to new avenues and new knowledge and, things that I'm interested in, that some people might not take to these type of things. Not everyone's going to support you, but if that's what you're feeling, if that's what I'm feeling in my soul, I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with what my intuition is calling me to do. I'm going to go with what my heart is telling me to do, and that I create my destiny, that I determine what my future is going to be, and to stand firm on that and not allow anybody to determine that for me, because at the end of the day, it's my life. It's for me to live. I am the captain of my ship, and I can't let anybody else, control that sail but me. So that's one of the things that I learned from 2020, that perfection is, it's an illusion, and it's a man-made concept. And the goal of life is to love yourself and to accept yourself no matter what, and if you don't, no one will. And as I said, perfection is in the eyes of the beholder. It's who is looking that can determine that, but nobody can determine perfection at the end of the day, because no one is perfect. Being of human flesh is being of imperfection and being of flaw. So that's what I learned about 2020, that life is a journey. It's not about being perfect. It's about choosing what you want your life to be, and believing in yourself ultimately. So there you have it. I thank you guys for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you got some useful information out of it. If in fact you did, be sure to leave a comment in the comment section and let me know what your thoughts are. What are some lessons that you learned over 2020? And if you happen to be watching this video after 2020, I wish you an amazing new year. I hope that it brings you all of your dreams, all of your manifestations, all of the good health, good wealth, and love that you desire. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in as always, and I'll see you in the next video.